This evening on Rob's Inner Circle, we have two delightful artists who are putting their gifts of autism to very good use. Don't go anywhere, stay right where you are. We'll be right back. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Rob's Inner Circle, broadcasting live on my personal Facebook page, on the Bobby Short Shorts YouTube channel, and on the Rob's Inner Circle Twitch account. The usual shout out goes out to my good friend and producer of Rob's Inner Circle, Jenny Duhame. And also another shout out goes out to my other good friend, our podcast techie here on the show, Patty Saragosa. Way to go, girls. We have it's rush hour. We have a couple of announcements for you, a couple of honorable mentions. And the first one going to our good friend, and both of them were previous guests here in Rob's Inner Circle. The first one goes out to filmmaker Patricia Chica, whose film Tribes has been chosen to play at the Boulder International Film Festival. And the other honorable mention goes out to actor Hilary Barraford, who has been nominated for Best Actor for her performance in the short film called The Hit at the Laugh or Die Comedy Festival. Congratulations to both Patricia and to Hilary, and we wish you the best of success. And this is coming on behalf of myself, Jenny, and Patty. Sorry, there's a little distraction coming. There was an alarm going off. Couldn't take it anymore, so I had to get rid of that. It's all good. Thank you. Thank you for your understanding. And also, at the same time, on our show tonight, one of our guests is going to be celebrating his birthday this upcoming Wednesday. And he's the fellow that's coming to us live from Chatterton, Greater Manchester, England, Michael Ankers. And this upcoming Friday, we also have our good friend Patricia Chica, who's going to be celebrating her birthday. So again, on behalf of myself and everybody here at Rob's Inner Circle, happy anticipated birthdays. Daily Struggles is up and rising on the Rise Up TV channel on the Roku streaming service. You can go on there and watch all of our previous episodes, and we're talking about season 1. And if you don't have, let's say, TV, well, you could always go get the Roku stick on Amazon for as little as $30, or you can download the app. That can be downloaded on your smart devices very easily. All of our merchandise is available at 514brandingco.com. And you can get all of our stuff there that's relevant to Daily Struggles, Rob's Inner Circle. You can also get Esther's Breeze merchandise, and the new show that I have with Esther, that's going to be coming up this Wednesday, once again at noon. And we can't wait to have that show going once again. And we thank you, by the way. The response is absolutely amazing. You people have been great with your support. Thank you so much. And thank you, at the same time, you're here supporting us here as well. So thank you for all the support that you give us everywhere. We urge you to subscribe to the Bobby Short Shorts YouTube channel. Go and click on our playlists, and you can choose all of our productions on there. And you can go ahead and give us some likes, comments you want to share. Subscribe to Bobby Short Shorts and hit the notification bell because, as you know by now, every time there's a new production coming out, you will be the first to know about it. Folks, it's that time once again. It is time for the weekly ritual. It is time to sit back, relax, let out the steam, take a deep breath. That always feels good for some reason. Folks, do you have any idea what time it is right now? I'm going to tell you what time it is. It's showtime. Let's get it on. It is time to bring on our two exciting guests, two amazingly talented young fellows. They have the gift of autism. They're amazing young men, very talented, and I can't wait to introduce both of them to you. The first one got his introduction, Michael Ankers. He's from Chatterton, Greater Manchester in England. And the second one is our very own local talent from Montreal, David Shawn.
Hey.
Hi.
Wow. What an honor it is to have you both over here. Thanks so much for joining us here on Rob's Inner Circle.
You're very welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Hey, it's been a long time in the making, and finally it's happening. Hey, dreams come true sometimes, huh?
Yeah.
The dream came true for us as well. Just letting you know that. We have Raul tuning in from California. Hello, Raul from Los Angeles. Thanks for tuning in. All of you people who are tuning in over there, just give us a little shot where you're from, so both our artists over here can get a little bit of a glimpse where you people are from. So, guys, without further ado, we have a pretty loaded show tonight. So we're going to start off with our good friend from the UK, Michael Ankers. Michael, tell us, do you play any instruments?
Well, obviously, as you know, I as everyone knows, I'm a singer and obviously write my own songs. And one thing that I'm not very good at is playing an instrument. So I've learned, obviously, in school, like you're doing music and stuff, like I might learn to play a bit of ukulele and piano, but unfortunately, I cannot play any instruments. So no.
Well, at some point, are you looking into playing an instrument?
I think if in future, if I did, it'd probably be guitar or piano. If in future.
Guitar, is that an inspiration from David?
Well, I know a lot of good singers who play guitar, so, including David, of course.
So, Michael, tell us, what got you started off in singing?
So what got started me off, as you'll see in the bio for this, so I sort of started off in my primary school choir. That's sort of thing. And then in high school, I was in several choirs. And then obviously I started on YouTube a few years ago. And then here I am today on Rob's Inner Circle. So there you go.
Wow. So that's great. That's a great start. And tell us a little bit there. What inspiration can you give to some people? Because you know what? There's a lot of people who want to do some things and they're too scared to do it. And fear is a factor. It always stops them. What can you tell these people to, hey, you know what? Stop fearing. What's the worst that can happen, right, Michael?
Yeah, definitely. I think believing in yourself is very important. Get advice from people. Say I might get advice from David, from singing, or I might get advice from Rob. Obviously, because I have my own chat show sort of thing, so I might get advice from Rob. So I think believe in yourself, get advice from people if you need to be, and just if you want to do something, follow your dream and see what happens, in my opinion.
That is a beautiful perspective on life. David, you've been waiting.
Yeah.
Hey, it's your turn, buddy. Tell us, how did you start off in the music business?
Well, I started getting guitar lessons when I was 14. My dad actually got me my first guitar lessons. And then I slowly developed over the years and honed my craft. I'm a singer, songwriter, and a rhythm guitarist, and sometimes I play lead guitar. And so I basically honed my skills over my teenage years. And then when I was about 19, I started getting very serious about writing songs and performing in front of people. So then it just took off from there over the years, and so that's how it all started.
Okay, Raul says he loves your song, and Raul, you're gonna have a chance. The rest of the audience is gonna have a chance to hear it because we have a little excerpt from the song "A Love Is So Pure." We have that lined up, Raul. So you want to stick around. While you're at it, Raul, why don't you invite the whole of California to come and join on the show tonight? Why not, huh? Hey, listen, David. Did anyone ever tell you, and listen, guys, don't get me wrong. I am not saying that David's got a voice to be a podcaster, but you have a beautiful voice. You could be a radio announcer. Did you ever think of that?
I've never. It hasn't been brought to my attention in a long time. But it has been brought to my attention a long time ago. But it hasn't been brought up in recent history. So that's sort of new to me in a way. But it is and it isn't. So yeah, that's my take on it.
Well, you know what? If I could be the one that give you that little, nudge, a little encouragement, and one day you're on the radio and you have your own show, hey, just remember me. Send me a box of cookies at Christmas. That's all I want.
Sure, why not?
David, tell me, what got you interested in playing guitar? I mean, there's so many interesting instruments out there.
Well, honestly, at first, I actually was going to start playing the drums. But my father at the time thought it was a little bit too noisy and too big of an instrument to bring into the house. So I decided to switch and play guitar. And then as I started learning guitar and learning about different artists and bands that I began to like over time, it just started to grow on me. And then the more I got into it, the more I got excited about it. And then when I went from acoustic to electric, that was a big deal for me because my skills kind of started to excel a lot. Like once I switched to electric, and then I was able to go back and forth from acoustic to electric, and it was a really interesting, good experience for me.
I've watched you play. I've watched your videos, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I have a funny feeling that someone called Elvis has been an influence in your life. Am I right?
You are correct.
Oh, talk to us about how Elvis has shaped your career.
Wow. Never expected to get that question. How has it shaped it? Well, it's influenced me in a lot of ways in terms of singing and in terms of taking different approaches singing wise, and also his performance. I really enjoy like his movements and his style and the way he articulates his words and the way his kind of, I don't know what you would call it, but maybe swagger or some word of that kind of nature. But yeah, I mean, it's just the whole thing, his voice, the way he moves, his performance, his that he takes it seriously. I can see that in his videos. He can take it seriously, or he can, joke around at the same time and kind of go back and forth and not be too serious, but to like kind of be balanced in whether he wants to be funny and non-serious, or if he wants to be serious and you really want to focus and see what he's doing live in person or on a record of his.
Okay, Michael, we're going to be getting to you shortly. Hang on, buddy. Tell us, who's representing you as a manager?
Rosner Management is representing me as a manager currently as Mark Rosner, and yeah, that's who's managing me at the moment. And yeah.
And you know what? We have that in common because we here at Rob's Inner Circle, there are 3 of us, but our cast is much larger than that. We're part of the Rise Up TV family, and Mark Rosner is head manning the show over there, and we can just imagine how proud you feel because we have that same sense of pride on our part over here.
Yes, I agree.
So, Michael, let's get to you. Michael, tell us which musicians have let me take that over. Which musicians have influenced you? Because I know in England, there's no shortage of amazing musicians. If you go to Elton John, you go to Pink Floyd, you have all these rock bands, you got Adele, even Susan Boyle. So which artist really hit it on the head for you?
I think one of them you mentioned, Adele. But obviously she's famous globally, and obviously she's from Britain. And I know we were discussing this about because obviously I know you didn't know Susan Boyle. She has autism. Obviously she was on Britain's Got Talent, and she a singer that as well known as her that has autism, even though she was diagnosed later on in life, is very influenced for me. And then not just British singers, obviously, but the singers who were global famous, like Well, I suppose David as well, you know, like people, like he's like there's other obviously singers with autism, or just singers in general from other, you know, places all over the world, including December Rose as well, who are such an inspiration to me. And I think there's certain singers, you know, that are doing things incredible things. So there's lots of different singers.
Okay, so Michael, are you considering, or have you considered going on to the popular shows in England, X Factor and Britain's Got Talent?
So this is a very good question. So I have auditioned for Britain's Got Talent twice. Didn't get onto the TV auditions, unfortunately, so I may audition third some at a time. I've heard that because they've had a few year break from X Factor, but I think they're bringing that back. Obviously, I'm at the age now that I can actually apply for that, so I could apply for that. Or there is the Voice UK as well that I could apply for. So, and they're always bringing some new sort of singing show, so I probably would apply. But you never know, I might travel to a different country and apply for, you know, do something else. You know?
Okay, Michael, won't be long. We'll be getting back to you. Michael, what I thought was an absolutely sobering experience is when Susan Boyle went on to, I believe it was X Factor or Britain's Got Talent, I believe.
Britain's Got Talent, yeah.
Okay, the moment she walked on stage is that, and this is back in 2009, she went on stage and said she was going to sing a song by Ellen Page. The whole audience mocked her. The whole panel mocked her. And the moment she started singing those three notes, it's like everybody's jaw just dropped. And it's like she just blew everybody away.
Definitely.
So, and that was the most sobering experience for everybody. So, you know, just letting people know over here that Susan Boyle has a form of autism. It's called Asperger's. And she also lacked some oxygen in her brain. So it just, you know, goes to show, you know, the appearance that a person might give you could be like totally wrong, because, you know, people who have the gift of autism are actually extremely intelligent people with very high IQs. So, David, what would be your take on that?
I think you're correct. There's a lot of misconceptions about people with autism and people on the spectrum. Basically on the spectrum, and even people with other disabilities. A lot of people base or judge, I should say, like people on their looks a lot, and that's not always the case, because there's a lot of people who are very different than the way they look, and they act different, and their whole approach to life is completely different or the opposite of how they appear to be.
Yes, indeed. I totally agree with you. David, tell me, have you considered going on to one of these talent shows here in North America, be it American Idol, maybe Canadian Idol?
That's a good question. I've considered it. I mean, I'm open-minded to it. Currently, I haven't done that yet. I mean, but I'm definitely open-minded to that being a possibility.
Okay, and David, when you're writing your songs, how do you get inspired? Is it, giving an example, is it like in a quiet room? Is it while you're taking a walk? Is it while you're out in nature with the birds in your backyard? Is there a specific formula that works for you?
Well, there's different. In my situation, it depends on it depends where I'm playing guitar, and like for example, like you said, like in nature, I love being in nature. I've written songs in my backyard, for example, or in a park near my house, and I find that those are really good places sometimes to write songs. And I also find sometimes in my house, like certain places in my house are really good. Like the living room, I tend to write some of my songs in the living room or in the backyard, or even sometimes around like certain people, like my mother. Sometimes even like sometimes I happen to be writing a song in the living room, and she happens to walk by, and it gives me, and it changes the energy in the room, and then I start to write based on how I'm feeling in that moment, and it kind of evolves from there.
Folks, I urge you to prepare some questions if you have any. Don't be shy. Both Michael and David will be more than happy. David is coming to us live from Montreal, whereas our friend Michael is coming to us live from England. We're going to be showing a little clip, which I believe is considered your signature song. Am I correct?
You are correct.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, while we're showing this little teaser, this little clip, and after the presentation, after the show, we invite you to go onto the David Shawn channel, and you could go watch the rest of his productions on his channel. So here's a video for you.
David.
Congratulations, David. That I really like that song. David, while we're on the subject, and we just finished playing the video, a thought that comes to my mind: what is it that inspired you to write the song?
Well, that particular song, what inspired me was originally I started writing that song when I was 19. I'm now 30 years old. When I started writing it, I was in my backyard, and there was a barbecue, and I started writing parts of the song, and then I started working on it for a couple of weeks, and then, but it was never fully finished by that time, and so it was kind of frustrating for a while. But then over the years, I decided to add parts to it and take away certain words and, refine it, and then I decided to record it as you can see, it speaks for itself.
And have you had a good response to the song by the audience?
Yes, I have. So far I believe it's on YouTube. There's 2,800 views.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So so we're making progress, and progress is always good.
Fantastic. So folks, if you want to go watch the entire song, the entire video, and all of the other productions that David has put up there on his YouTube channel, it's on the David Shawn YouTube channel. And at the same time, David, at the end of the show here, will probably, both of you folks, I believe that we have links in the description box in the YouTube version of this broadcast. So no, we should be good. We're okay. David.
Yes.
Thank you so much for that. Now we're going to go to All right, everybody. I'm gonna go back to England. Hey, Michael, is this the first time you're on a podcast?
No, actually, I've been on. Well, the first ever interview I was on was back in July last year, and then the first sort of a podcast I was on was there's a YouTuber from the USA called, well, he's called Frank, but his YouTube channel is called Arte Morbid, and he was sort of the first ever live show that I was on, and then the first proper sort of podcast. I know this is a podcast, but you know, like where you listen to it on like an app or something. I was on, obviously I've been on the Ankers TV show and a few other things. And the first proper podcast I was on was in January. A friend of mine called Namana, she has her own podcast called Daily with Namana. So that was I'm building up my interview, but that was like, they were sort of the first few I was on.
Awesome. And tell us, Michael, how pivotal has your parents' influence in the whole how can I say, the whole venture of you being in the artistic world? I'm sure you got a lot of support from your parents.
So yeah, that is very true. So for anyone who doesn't know, my dad died when I was 7 years, well, a few weeks after my 7th birthday in 2000, but he was a very good dad, obviously. He was very supportive and everything. And my mum, and I know Esther is very supportive with David, and my mum is very supportive of me. She supports me, obviously, like being on this interview now. I know she's a bit camera shy, but she'll always she always wants to know what I'm up to, and obviously because I do live with her. And she's very supportive of my music, and she'll say, "Well done for doing this, Michael." And she's very supportive of me going to the recording studio. And I think my parents, my family, my friends, anyone, or just like the general music audience, anyone that just supported me. Like the other day at college, someone said to me randomly, oh, I saw one of your singing videos with Michael, it was really good, and it was really nice just to get that support and recognition.
Okay, for the both of you, obviously, and you are two absolutely brilliant boys, and there's a lot of people out there to this day. It's not as bad, but I'm sure because while David was growing up, because he's a little older, and back then it was less understood. The gifts of autism were less understood back in the day. Today they're better understood, and I guess Michael has inherited some of that understanding, and he's better off today because of that. But David, as you were growing up, did you experience some bullying while you were at school, or cyberbullying? Did you have a hard time with that?
Yes, I experienced that when I was in high school. I experienced actually both cyberbullying and psychological bullying. But I like to think of it as that was a long time ago, and we all move on. We all move on to different, bigger, better things. As they say.
Okay, and how about you, Michael? How did you react with these challenges?
So I was first diagnosed with autism when I was about when I was about nearly 8, sort of, and I think with the other disabilities I have as well, I think in school, I think like David said, there's a lot of I think when you first diagnosed with it can obviously be sort of, but I think other people, like David said, there's a lot of people judging. There's a lot of presumptions about having autism, and like David said, I've been bullied quite a lot, so I agree with that.
Okay, so Michael, back in the UK, you have your own show called Awesome Autism. We're going to be showing a little clip of your show. Talk to us a little bit about what inspired you to write the show, and I believe you got 5 episodes out there.
Yes, so I have I've started doing a few series, as you know. So I obviously, usually when I just post YouTube videos, it was my music and stuff. And obviously, I started my vlog channel last year. And I wanted to use my platform, as a lot of people do, like David's doing, like we're talking about autism now, use my platform to, talk about autism, talk about many different things, not just music. So I started, obviously with you bring lots of different people on your show, and to be able to talk about different things, like when I do as you know, I'm a host of my own Instagram chat show, and I bring people on to talk about certain things as well. And with the Awesome Autism series, I wanted to, when it was in April, it was across the world, it was Autism Awareness Month. So in honor of that, I wanted to, obviously, I've spoken it about before, but I wanted to give a bit more of an in-depth knowledge and experience of what I'd been through with it.
Well, Michael, I can't agree more with what Esther is saying. Both of you, yes, are definitely very impressive young men. So we're about to show a little clip from your show. That, by the way, folks, you can go to the Bobby Short Shorts YouTube channel, and there's a playlist called Awesome Autism. You can click on that playlist and go watch Michael's shows. And I believe the list is not complete, but we will be putting that up to date. And by the way, we have a friend coming from the land of Down Under, Jess Sorrell. So, hey, David and Michael, you guys really know how to draw a crowd. Unbelievable. So, folks, if you have any questions, prepare your questions. Well, we're going to be showing the clip here to Michael's show called Awesome Autism.
Nobody's perfect, I'll never try. No, if you want the best of my heart, you just gotta see the good in me.
I never said I was perfect. See, I never claimed to be. Cause perfect is perception. Perception is all that they can see.
Hi guys, it's me, Michael Ankers. Welcome back to my music channel, Michael Ankers Music, and welcome back to another episode, but also the second episode of my new 5-part series, Awesome Autism. And again, I'd just love to give another shout out like I did last week to Jenny DeHame, who recently, for the series, has made the intro for it. But also thank you very much to Robert Gillespie, who is a friend of mine and Jenny's, who has now put it as a playlist on his Bobby Short Shorts YouTube channel. The playlist will be down below. Anyway, so let's get into today's episode. So in today's episode, I'm talking about what is it like being a autistic student at school, college, blah, 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 you get the idea. So currently I'm a performing arts student, level 3 year one from at college.
So, Michael, it seems like you have a pretty successful show going.
And yes, as I mentioned in there, your very own Jenny DeHame made the intro for, and obviously you put on the YouTube channel, but Jenny DeHame made the intro for, and you never know, I may do a second series of it, you never know, but mainly I'm just doing my chat show at the moment, but yes, I really enjoyed doing it.
Well, Michael, as the Beatles would say, you got a little help from your friends. Wow. Wow. So tell us, what do you think are the biggest challenges that are still out there in society that we can still work on so that people can better understand the forms of autism? Because both you, Michael, and David, you have different forms of autism. What are the things that the society that still doesn't understand that, what can we do better to make it more known and making people more knowledgeable?
Oh, that is a good question. So I think, obviously, I know when David there wasn't real, obviously, like a diagnosis for it. It's obviously several decades ago. There wasn't a lot of. It was obviously very new to it, and there wasn't a lot known about it. Obviously, where it is now, like you said, it's better, but it's not thinking. I think there needs to be more research. There needs to be more raising awareness of it, like obviously me and David have talked about in here. There needs to be more. I think there needs to be more services, like in medical services, like people can get diagnosed earlier. So obviously there's some adults that might not have been diagnosed until the 30s or 40s, and I think just having the access to services needed for children and their parents of children with autism. That's what I think.
And David, what would your take be on there? What do you think that society can do to further the knowledge, the understanding of the gift of autism?
Well, I think that people should be open-minded. One of the characteristics of autism is that sometimes we misunderstand things, and or have problems with social cues. And I think that people should be more understanding and more open-minded, and be aware, and always to give anybody a chance, to express themselves and explain themselves. And I think communication is a very key thing to those things. And yeah. Okay.
And one of the character traits for the audience, there's some people who are not aware of some of the character traits from a person who has a gift of autism, is that one of the character traits is that a person with a gift of autism has an amazing memory. They're amazingly honest, amazingly creative, and nothing's going to stop them, because anybody who fears, I'll give you an example. If everyone, if someone wants to go and do a project, he's afraid to do it, neither you boys is going to be afraid to do it. So tell us how that has helped you. Start with David.
Well, it's how has it helped?
Yeah.
Sorry, can you repeat the question, please?
Yes, I'm going to repeat the question. The fact that you get a great memory, you're very creative, you're also you're honest, okay, and you're not afraid to go out and do what you want to do. Whereas some people, I want to sing, you know what? I want to sing, but I'm afraid to do it. You boys, you want to sing and you're doing it. So how is it that you guys get that inspiration to do it?
That's a really good question, actually. I think it's just, there's a part of it that's kind of like, because we, the way we filter information is different, that it sometimes we're not aware that, like, as aware of like what our people think, what are people like thinking about our performance. We're more focused on our actual performance in a way, because we're hyper focusing on the instrument that we're using, whether it's our a regular instrument or your voice. And I think that it's partially the way we filter information, and also, I don't know if it's for everyone that's autistic, but I mean, sometimes when I go on stage, in my case, sometimes I feel like this, like once I get used to it, I start to feel a fearlessness about it, because I get so used to it, and I don't. A lot of people would think about, okay, what is the audience thinking about me? What are they? Do they like the song I'm playing right now? But in our case, we're kind of thinking about, like making sure that we know what all the guitar notes or whatever instrument we're using, what we're playing, what we're singing. We're very focused on, what the task is at hand, as opposed to what people think of us.
Michael, I'm sorry, I don't remember. Did I ask you this question? Did I give you a chance to answer the question?
No.
Okay, well, go ahead. Go ahead and answer the question.
Right, I'll answer it. So, yeah, I think I agree with David. I think, like you were saying about memory and stuff, I think it's I think obviously, it's like you can when we're writing songs, obviously we have a very good sort of like long term memory, so we can obviously use our experience like lots of singers do to write their own songs. And I think in terms of confidence, I think it's just if you want to do something, and there's the phrase ability in disability, so doing some just because you have a disability or a medical condition or whatever. Obviously, there will be some things you may not be able to do, but there's lots of things you can still do. So if you want to do them, do them. And like for me, if I go on, if I'm recording a cover or I'm going in the studio or I'm, performing on a stage, which I don't do too often, but it's just going up there, going on stage, singing whatever song. And in terms of writing as well, it's the same. Like, say if I was to sing like somewhere over the rainbow, and I think as well, if there's songs that people know us, the like us to sing as well, I think that's another thing. But I think just having the confidence to do it as well is very important.
Very, very good. You guys, that's a beautiful answer. I love how intricate you are and the way you deliver your questions. They're very well your answers are very well formulated and very well delivered. Am I right in assuming that the people who are on the spectrum have extremely high IQs? Example, it's been proven, not lately, but a few years ago, that Isaac Newton and Albert Einstein were on the spectrum. So am I right in assuming that people with the gift of autism are extremely high in IQ? Yeah.
Well, some are and some aren't. I mean, it depends on the person. I mean, it depends on what their abilities and disabilities are. It depends on a lot of different factors, their environment.
Well, there's
a wide spectrum of different forms of autism and forms of other things that people would call disabilities or just different ways of looking at things, like the whole term of being neurodiverse.
Well, it's absolutely amazing how many artists there are out there, whether it's actors, whether it's speakers, people in high positions, they have the gift of autism and we don't even know about it. Can you name a couple of people who are out there who are high profile that we didn't even know who are autistic?
Well, I'll go first then. So obviously, as I mentioned, Susan Boyle. Obviously, I know Rob, you didn't know. I think when I was on Angie's show he didn't know, and obviously like Albert Einstein. There's William Shakespeare, but Mozart, not strong about Huston. And obviously, there's a lot of Elon Musk. Obviously, you mentioned that as well. And there's lots. There's obviously actors. There's too many to name, but yeah, lots.
And David, is there anybody that you know? Because I believe you told me that you knew that someone was had the gift of autism, and when you told me, like, I was completely taken aback. Was it an actor, a singer? Who was it?
I don't fully recall, but I could have been I think it might have been an actor. There was a famous actor. I forget it. I can't
well, you know what?
remember his name, but he did. What's it called? He was in the movie, I believe, Silence of the Lambs.
Okay, Anthony Hopkins.
Yes, that's
Anthony Hopkins.
Correct. Yes.
So it just goes to show, I mean, there's a lot of people out there. It's incredibly intelligent, and you wouldn't know that they're on the spectrum.
Right. Also, another one I just remembered right now is Jerry Seinfeld.
Oh, no way.
Yes.
That's the one. Yes, you had told me about Jerry Seinfeld. Yeah, when you had told me that last week, I was taken aback.
I can understand why. I mean, I know what you mean when you say that.
You never expect that. It's like,
but you don't expect it. Yeah, if someone
that's true
was walking down the street and told you that, you would be surprised. A lot of people would be surprised, I would assume.
Indeed.
Well, we have a very special guest who's going to be joining us right now. Is she still beside you? Is your mom there?
Yeah.
Is your mom there, David?
Right here.
Esther.
Hi, Esther.
Hi, Esther. Welcome to Rob's Inner Circle. Thank you so much for having David with us, for
My pleasure.
participating.
His pleasure. Our pleasure. Your
And-
pleasure.
And also Michael as well. Everybody, we're so proud. Esther, listen, we have a little time left over here. My God, this went by so fast. Esther, you said you had a story to share with us, and this, folks, this is an amazing story.
Yes.
You don't want to miss this. Esther, take it away. Tell us the story that you wanted to tell us that affected David in a certain way that he became very creative.
So interestingly enough, it's exactly 15 years ago as of last week. So David was 15 at the time. And it was actually the shooting at Dawson College. My daughter was there at the time, and I was with David. I had picked him up early from school. We had a doctor's appointment, and she called and told me that she heard shots being fired and that she was hiding under the table, and she was terrified and she didn't know what was going to happen. And then the phone went dead, and we had no idea what had happened, what was going to happen. David and I went into the car, we put on the radio, we started listening, and I couldn't get in contact with her. We drove home, and several hours later, I found out she was okay. During this time, David was nowhere to be seen. He sort of went to his room, and we just didn't see him. And she came home, and we hugged and we cried, and we were just so relieved. It was a horrific experience, and we were very fearful. And again, David really wasn't around. The following day, David came downstairs and told us that he had written a song. We had no idea that David was even considering writing music. We knew he was taking guitar lessons. He was like 1 year in, and he proceeded to play it for us. It was called Innocence Lost on a Wednesday, and it was absolutely beautiful. And we were floored. We had no idea that he was writing music. We had no idea he had this talent. And it was this incredible, horrific experience that gave him the inspiration to write one of his first songs. So that was it's quite something.
You know, we know each other. It's a little while, Esther, and I know you. You know me, and I know how horrified you were on that particular day. I can imagine.
Yeah.
God forbid. I don't even want to go there, but someone, his or her daughter or her son is in a school like that, and that is happening. God forbid. And I can imagine how horrified you were. And that when you saw your daughter, it's like, I guess you must have collapsed.
Well, there was hugging and crying involved.
Wow.
Definitely.
So, Esther, what is it like being the parent of a child who's on the spectrum? I mean, it must be special in some ways.
You know, there's this famous poem that a lot of parents who discover their children are on the spectrum sometimes are given. It's called A Welcome to Denmark. And it's about, it's actually a poem about how you had packed your bags and you were planning to go on vacation to Paris and you had everything ready. And then you're told, as you're boarding the plane, that they have to make a stop off at Denmark. And so you have to readjust your thinking, you have to readjust your plans. And that's initially how it begins. It's repositioning how your thought process in how you are going to now deal with a child who is on the spectrum. And in fact, there are a lot of gifts, but there's also a lot of challenges as well. So it wasn't easy, but David is a very intelligent, sensitive person, and he was always a joy to be with and a joy to bring up, but there were definite challenges for him. And, it was definitely a process and definitely a learning experience. And you had to learn to have a lot of patience and to understand and realize that things that we take for granted, like certain things like through osmosis that we learn as individuals, that someone on the spectrum doesn't necessarily have. For instance, even the something as simple as empathy. And it's not because they don't have it or don't care, or in fact they have usually extremely sensitive, and I shouldn't generalize, but definitely it's there. It's just that it's not, it doesn't come naturally. It was almost something that I had to teach David, and so that things could be misread where they might assume that he's being arrogant, but he's not. He's just.
And I told people that too, and sometimes they didn't believe me that this is just the way I processed the information they were giving me.
It's very black and white. It's very black and white. So there's definitely there's a lot of learning. We basically learned together. That's how I would, with his father as well, who was very involved and wonderful at upbringing him. So we were very involved parents. That's for sure. So
Esther. How did you come to discover that David was on the spectrum?
So it started with a language delay, and then we were told different things, ADHD, perhaps a learning disability, but it became more obvious around the age of 8 that he was formally diagnosed.
Okay, and by the way, one of our listeners who's tuned in, Reno Verrico, thank you very much for tuning in. And he has mentioned that he has a bluelightprogram.com. It's a camp. You can go on the website and get some information. So Reno, thank you so much for participating and sharing that with us. We appreciate that very much. Michael, tell us a little bit, how did it come across? How was it discovered that you were on the spectrum?
Oh, this is a good question. So I think I was probably the same age as David, actually. So I was born with something called low muscle tone, and like basic weak muscles in your body. And so basically what happened with that was, obviously, I had like physiotherapy and stuff when I was younger. And with certain people with autism cannot speak. I know David was saying this, but cannot say walk or talk until they're maybe like 3 or 4 years old. And Mum said to me that I couldn't speak until one day I was about 3.5 or something. I started walking and obviously talking. And there wasn't really not allowed that then. And then a few years later, obviously, as I mentioned before, my dad died. I was crying a lot. I was having like temper tantrums. I was having this, and it was my auntie that sort of mentioned to my mum. She said, well, my great auntie thought there was something a bit, off. So, something a bit more than just grief. Obviously, I was dreaming at the time. And then I went. I was eventually referred back to my old specialist that I'd had for my low muscle tone when I was younger, and she diagnosed me with Asperger's syndrome and also dyspraxia on the same day. And then a few years later, I found out that as having that, but someone and a teacher I knew in my school, I think she had low muscle tone, and she told me that having low muscle tone can be part of having autism. So I may have had autism from when I was born, but wasn't officially diagnosed until I was about 7 years old, nearly 8. So yes.
So if you two boys could change the world, what would you do to make this world a better place? Michael, if you want to continue, then we're going to go to David.
Okay, so I think obviously raise a lot more awareness of autism and more services, but more services for obviously mental health, because I know someone who does I know there's a friend of mine called Holly, and she does her own self-care packages for people with mental health and autism and all that, free of charge. And I think having more people like that, having more charities like that, and then just, having, doing a lot more people in terms of music as well, having a lot more, because obviously there are some people, like if you think about like YouTube statistics, that don't get the amount of views. So I think having a lot more, there's so much talent in the world, and letting more people see how much talent there is in terms of music and acting and performing and things like that.
And David, the world according to David.
Oh wow. Well, it's kind of like what Michael Ankers was saying about more awareness about autism, and about mental health, things of that nature, and just to create more of a connection between communication, to create more communication between people, so there's a more clear understanding between one person and another person, or one person and multiple people, that everyone is kind of, at least for the most part, on the same page in terms of like understanding each other and getting an idea of where each other comes from.
Michael, David, it has been an absolutely fantastic show. Wow. Excellent participation by the audience. A big thank you to everybody. Esther, stay right where you are. Don't go anywhere, because I need you in a second, okay?
Okay.
Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. And listen, like I said to everybody, thank you for all your comments. Esther, by the way, is there anything special going on this Wednesday at noon?
There's this quirky little show. I think it's called Noon Hour Out of the Box.
Noon Hour Out of the Box?
Yeah.
Well, it sounds very familiar,
Doesn't
but
it?
it sounds like a really great show.
Yeah, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I know.
I think so. So, Esther, listen, we're addressing the audience right now. What do you suggest the audience do at 12 on Wednesday?
They should tune in to Noon Hour Out of the Box with Robert D'Alessio and Esther B.
But you know what? That sounds like a fantastic idea, and there's a pretty good chance I'll be there, Esther.
I certainly hope so.
Hey, everybody, thank you so much. Please stay there.
Yeah.
We're going to bring you back. Well, you know the shtick.
Yeah, there's a lot of shit. Yeah. The
Okay,
after
guys.
party. We'll be here.
Thank you. We'll see you in a bit. Well, yeah, there you have it, folks. Those were our guests tonight. Michael Ankers was from England, and David Shawn, our local artist from Montreal. Both singers. In the case of, they're both singer-songwriters. The only difference with David is that he is a guitarist. Next week, we have a pretty interesting show. We have, it's going to be composers and musical directors, Pierre-Luc Sénécal, Pascal Germain Berardi, and singer, music producer, voice-over artist, Jeff Mott from the Growler Choir. This is a pretty interesting show we're going to have for you tomorrow night. So can you imagine merging heavy metal with classical choir? That's going to be quite interesting. It's going to be something you don't want to miss. Well, they're going to be talking about the concert that they're going to be having on June 18th at Montreal's Église du Très Saint Nom de Jésus. To everyone, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Same time, same reason. Ciao.